Hey everyone, Gary Simon here of Coursetro, and today we're going to take a look at a concept. I'm not actually going to be showing you how to create something. We're going to talk more about the theory behind something very specific, and that is the call to action in UI design. So what is that? So a call to action is exactly as it sounds. If somebody visits your web page, they're going to land on a landing page or something, there should always be some sort of call to action, something that immediately sticks out and basically entices them to take some sort of action, whether that's to click a button, fill out a form, or click a button to take you to a different section of the web page to generate a lead. A lot of different purposes exist for call to action buttons. And you would think, we're just talking about buttons and forms, it should be easy, but when I do the portfolio reviews every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you should check that out, by the way, where I do portfolio reviews, a lot of people get call to action buttons wrong. So my goal in this video is to show you through generating random website examples. So I don't even know what they're going to be. There's this random website generator I'm going to use. I'm going to look at specifically the call to actions, and we're going to compare them across 5 different metrics, and that is color and contrast being one, size, position, copy, the ad copy of the button, what the button says, and relevance. And so we'll do this through maybe 5 to 10 different examples, and through repetition in my explanation, and some of them I'm going to go ahead and use the inspector to make improvements on them. Hopefully you're going to understand yourself how to make effective call to actions by remembering these 5 different criteria. All right, so for today's question, if you're a freelancer, either a designer coder, how many clients do you work with on average in a given month? Is it maybe just 1 or 2 or 10, or in my case, back in the day when I was doing logos, around 30? Let me know in the comments here. I'll let you know my answer in the first comment. Make sure you subscribe, and let's get started. All right, so here I'm at discover, discover.com. Judging by the Alexa ranking, it probably doesn't get a ton of traffic. I'm not sure how updated it is. I remember using it like a year or 2 ago, but basically it just allows me to click on this little button, this call to action, to take me to a useful website. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I know some of them are gonna be good, but some will be bad. So let's see where the first result takes us. All right. Okay, so this is called I don't even know, XPass. I can't even pronounce it. Anyhow, so we could see here the call to action is not just this button, it is this form. And wow, already a major usability issue. For instance, if I click back onto here, this placeholder text should show back up after you focus off of it. So, I mean, they should have probably used a label or a proper placeholder attribute for that. So where you want to move, probably not the best wording for that. But in an overall sense, especially looking at these 5 criteria, color and contrast, looking at this first and foremost, it's a little bit cluttered in the sense of color, because we're using first we have this green hue up here, then we have this orange right here for the placeholder text, but then we're using blue right here, and that doesn't really work out in my opinion. And then we have this green call to action down here. Now the actual call to action button, the actual button itself in terms of color and contrast, it does contrast well. We can see the background here is white. This is a nice blue color that contrasts enough with it, and it makes sense in that regard. Now, what about size? The size of this call to action button here is good, but there's an issue when it comes to size when we're looking at this whole area right here. You have this headline, compare cost of living between cities. Yeah, it's pretty large. However, almost at the same size is this text right here, where you want to live, as well as this. This is the same exact size of this. So when it comes to prioritizing and it's what's called in graphic design visual hierarchy, there's an issue because you're not sure where you're supposed to look first. So this stuff like this versus should be much smaller, as well as this text right here. The button, though, is pretty solid in this regard in terms of size. Position, yeah, if we're just looking at position, it does make sense. My dog's down there barking. And yeah, I mean, this would be a typical area. You have the logo, you have the header, the navigation, you have a headline. This is, you know, it's a good pattern to follow if we're just looking at position. Copy, compare, that's a pretty good headline, or not headline, but a copy for the call to action button text, because sometimes people will put click here or submit. No, what you're doing is actually you're trying to compare cost of living. So making it compare, that's good, that's solid. And then relevance, relevance of this whole call to action in this form. Does it make sense when we're talking about this page and what they're trying to do? So what they're trying to do is compare cost of living between cities, and it gives you a form to do that. So yes, it is relevance. But so you can see with this example, they're doing some things right, but also some things quite wrong, which are easily fixable by just adjusting a few things. All right, so let's try another one right here. Take me to a useful website. Midomi. The hell is that? You can tell this is kind of more of a dated design, I could tell already. And it looks like they've really reused this element from some other website, maybe like Amazon. I've seen this exact type of colors and stuff used elsewhere. But let's look, again, we're here for the call to action. So we have the headline, the ultimate music search, and that gets hidden quite a bit. So there's an issue there. The call to action right here is click in, sing, or hum. It looks like they have another call to action over here, instant music search and discovery. I guess you're supposed to click that. So we have some issues here. So let's take it on by our list. Color and contrast, not good. Reason being, we have this gradient here going from this blue to light blue or almost white up here. But in here, the actual call to action button is just this medium gray. There's not a lot of contrast. It doesn't immediately stick out or contrast when you first visit the page. You're not really sure where you're supposed to look because there's a lot of happening. There's not enough padding, white space in this area to really give this the attention that it deserves. So color and contrast definitely would need improved right here. And let's go on to size. So the size of the actual call to action button is good, but again, when we're talking about visual hierarchy, it doesn't make sense when you're comparing it to like the headline. You know, the headline's pretty important. It's one of the first things people see naturally. You want this to be bigger for sure, and this is just they're out of order. This is way too big compared to this headline right here. Let's look at position. The position does make sense here if we're only looking at position. It's up high, definitely above the fold. Let's look at copy. Click and sing or hum. That's fine, better than just click me or something like that. And then relevance, the ultimate music search. They're wanting you to click and sing or hum. It probably could be improved by maybe adding a subheadline about what exactly is going to happen when you do that. But also there's two call to actions right here. They're competing with each other. It's fine to have two buttons, but they should really contrast with each other, and you should really, from a visual sense, be able to tell, which one is it that they really want me to click the most, or I should be intrigued or enticed to click the most. Right here, they're just competing on the same wavelength, so you're not really sure which one has the most importance. So yeah, definitely an overall ineffective approach to call to action. Let's try another one. All right. This is a very popular site. Yeah, we can see by the Alexa, 25K. They're getting thousands of visitors per day. All right, so down for everyone or just me? Basically, you just type into Google just to see if is it down for everyone or just me. Very awesome domain name. People remember this. So this is the call to action right here. This is the whole main purpose of the site. Is google.com, and obviously you're entering something here, down for everyone or just me. Now, I could see why they pushed this up high, because I would really like, especially in a desktop resolution, I would really like to have even more prominence for this, which means probably making it larger and really giving it more screen real estate. But of course, they're looking to make money, so they're kind of pushing this stuff up right here. You can tell this is sponsored content, looking for great web hosting, or their affiliate stuff, but whatever. But if we're looking at the call to action button, I would say it almost competes, but this might be by design because they may not want you just to click this. They want you to click this stuff too. I really think that ultimately, if we're not worried about ads and all that stuff, we could probably make this stand out a little bit more by making it a different complementary color outside of the blue. You could probably, again, I'm being real nitpicky here though, because this is still just effective. It's underlined, and people commonly associate underlined text, especially if it's blue, with being a clickable link. So really overall, even though it's extremely simple, it's effective. All right, so color and contrast, they got that right. Size, they have this right as well, and can maybe make it bold or encase it in some sort of container where the actual, actually, here's one of the times we can do this. And I could be wrong about this, but let's try it. So Control-Shift-I will get out the dev tools right here, and I'm gonna click on this button, click on this, and now we have access to the CSS. Let's make it white for the color, for the font, and then we'll make a background color, and I'll just say it looks like they're using 0080FF. All right, and then we'll take text decoration. Actually, instead of doing that, I'll just remove it right here. Remove it right there as well. Wow, it's I can't remove it, damn it. Hold on, let me go back. I accidentally clicked off of it. We'll do text decoration, and I'll just put none. There we go. And then we'll do border radius, maybe something like, well, no, that ain't gonna work. We'll put like 10 pixels. We'll do 30 pixels. All right, and then we'll do padding, 12 pixels. It's a little bit too large. Maybe take down this padding maybe by 8 pixels. Something like that definitely sticks out a little bit more, in my opinion. I'm so anal about this. Let me put 8 pixels on the top and bottom. We'll do like 18 pixels on the right and left. There we go. Or just me. So again, this sticks out more. Is it truly going to be more effective than going back to this? Well, we can assume, but we never want to assume. And this is a really important pro tip that I'm going to give you. Always do your split testing, your A/B split testing, to really determine ultimately what is the most effective. And so if you don't know what that is, there's a lot of different A/B split testing tools. There's a free one from Google. I believe it's called Google Website Optimizer, possibly. And it basically just allows you to specify two different versions of a web page with just one variable being different, in our case changing the appearance of the call to action button text, and then you throw traffic at it and you see which one performed better, which one got more clicks in this case. All right, so yeah, overall this is definitely relevant if we're talking about copy or just me. It's very unique. In relevance, obviously very relevant. Okay, let's try another one. Take me to a useful website. All right, so they're making this easy on me. Please enter a zip code or city, a very solid headline right here. We have a sublet headline, or click locate to use your current location. All right, so the actual call to action here is this zip/country field and this check. And now, here's one thing that we have an issue with. This locate aesthetic, this button here, is exactly the same as check. So that's going to confuse people right away. One of these, and probably this one, the actual form submission button, that needs to really stand out in contrast much more than just this one. And there's different ways you could do that, because a lot of these landing pages, you'll have two buttons. One's going to be the primary call to action, and another one will be secondary. And I would probably just move this locate over here to the same side, or we could just get rid of the yellow background and just give this an outline of some sort, like a border, and make the icon and the actual text, maybe this blue color or something that's dark. That way you create a difference in appearance between these two buttons, and they're not competing for your eyes, essentially. All right, so looking at this color and contrast, the color is not ideal because the background color is yellow, and the foreground element, of course, which is the copy, the check text, is white. So yellow on white, unless it's a darker saturated or more of like a darker yellow, which I don't really ever advise using. This is not enough contrast. It's hard to see, especially with some old person who has bad eyesight. So you definitely want to change this up. Even make it possibly blue, or maybe even this. This right here would work much, much better. Please enter a zip code or city. So if I change this real quick, let's get that color code right there. And then we'll go over here to this check. We'll find the background color. All right, so what did I do here? All right, so much better. You could see the actual check copy so much better. And what I was talking about before, by the way, I don't like the positioning of this. This locate button is just kind of slopped here straight in the middle, and it's real close to this area. I just don't like it. It throws it off completely. So if I go to button, get rid of the background color. Oops, we don't want to do that. We just want to do it right here. So we'll just put background, none. Oh, they're putting important on rules here. There we go. And then we can maybe give it a border. 1 pixel solid, gray. Maybe light gray instead. It's kind of coming out too much. Light gray. There we go. And then the color. What's going on here? The color, we'll just say black. There you go. As you can see, it created an immediate separation visually between these two call to action buttons here. It could still be improved, but just see what this looks like, and then just make sure you're looking at it right now. I'm going to refresh. We'll lose my changes. You'll see it's much more ineffective just based on the changes that we made. Maybe not much more, but still, if I made more adjustments to this, it would work much better. All right, let's try another one. howlongtoreadthis.com. So, all right. They're making it so easy on me. All right, so looking at this on this large, desktop resolution that I'm using, they have this icon here. It's really large headline, way too big, not enough white space. He needs to really, condense the size of this stuff up here. But let's look at the call to action, of course. And it's just spanning all the way across. Not a big fan, of taking an element like an input field and expanding it 100% no matter how large the browser is. That's just, no, you got to condense that more so that the eye doesn't have to go all the way from here all the way to the other side just to see the button that you're supposed to click. So that's the biggest issue with this particular call to action. Now they're using placeholder text, search reading times for over 12 million books. That's pretty good in my opinion, just for the copy aspect. In this right here, this button, it's so hard to look at this because it's so freaking large. Let me see if I can scale this down somehow or get this back in. Let's see here. Coming over here, the form. Let's see if I can apply a width. It may not work. We'll just do 50%. There we go. Margin 0 auto. There we go. All right, so already much better. We can see where we're supposed to type. My mouse doesn't have to travel like 5 light years away to click the button. This button right here, it could stand out more simply because there's already a blue here, and they're using just a more saturated blue, maybe slightly darker. It's still, you can still see it, you can still click on it. It's not bad, but it probably could be improved here. So looking at relevance, This is very relevant. Search reading times for over 12 million books. The copy works. Positioning, again, this stuff needs to be reworked so that not everything is so condensed. And so there's the issue with visual hierarchy, determining where I'm supposed to look first. This icon completely needs to be scrapped, I would say. Just scrap the whole damn icon. It'd be so much better. So look, we'll delete that. Already a million times better, right? Then plus you have more screen real estate. It moves the stuff up above the fold on the desktop, and it's just so much better. So I really like improved this a million times. So let's refresh this, see what it used to look like. Horrendous. Okay, I'm not meaning to be an ass when I'm critiquing these, but I'm just trying to be constructive so we can all become better designers together. Let's do this again. Reshound.com. No open tables, no problem. Get real-time availability alerts for any open table restaurant. Search for a restaurant to get started. Okay. What doesn't really make sense to me, they have this fixed width container right here, this little gray container, which is fine. And then they have this type right here, which is seeming to span about 100% of the width, and it also starts here on the very left. So this simply should span 100% all the way in this regard. Now, if this was a completely fluid layout, it wouldn't make sense to expand it all the way, but they have a fixed container here. It should span all the way. In terms of color and contrast, it doesn't really stick out too much, does it? I mean, it's the one focal point, the one thing it's the only way you can use the site. There's no menu. This is the only thing that you're going to be using it for. I would probably wrap this in some type of more thicker a border that really makes it stand out a lot more. I like this fact that they are changing the copy to give you ideas. What is an open table restaurant, by the way? Can I type in Applebee's or something? All right, so that's good right here. They're showing you a little loading graphic. Applebee's. Sorry, we couldn't find the restaurant. This should probably show up down here. But yeah, like for instance, just to show you what I was talking about, width, they have a fixed width at 618 pixels. Might as well just go to 100%. And then margin left, get rid of that. All right, so the margin left, 15 pixels. Something more like that would be much better. As you can see now, it looks like it's supposed to be where it's at. And then possibly a border of 5 pixels solid. And then even this default gray looking color looks, makes it stand out quite a bit more. But if we did blue, for instance, which I don't want to use that, we can click this and, get something that'll really give it a lot more focus. I probably wouldn't use red. You could probably use a shade of red or something like that, and it sticks out a lot more. So again, get this mental image here in your mind and then watch it. We'll refresh the old version. There we go. I think we definitely made an improvement on that. Let's continue on with this. Oh, I've been doing this for 21 minutes already. All right, what is a 3-minute journal? All right, 3-minute journal is an online application that allows you to track your inner work life, powered by blah, 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 blah. Okay, so 3-minute journal fact. What am I supposed to do? Not really sure. They do have a sign up and a login button, and they're both styled exactly the same, which I'm not too much of a fan of. You definitely want people to sign up, because how can they log in if they don't sign up first? Obviously, the sign up's the most important part. And then they're just leaving you hanging here. I mean, you can't click this. This isn't a button. It looks like a button. But what they should do is bold this part, create more separation between these elements, these two elements right here, because they kind of run together. So in visual hierarchy, as I was talking about, there's an issue here. And then get this sign in button right here. And I wouldn't even make the copy sign up. I would make it something like start my journal. That would be far better. So if I took this, I'm not sure if I never tried putting in actual HTML with a dev inspector thing here. I wonder if I can just do this. Oh, yeah, I can. Awesome. So now let's make some adjustments here to really make this better. Like, for instance, let's make font weight bold for this headline. All right, that's a lot better. We're going to take this text right here, and we're going to make the font size a little bit smaller, just at 0.9 EM. And let's do display block. Oh, it put that, where is it at? It put this link inside of there. I wonder if I can go like outside of it. There we go. And then we could possibly do color dark gray. Okay, that's too light. But we're going to create more separation though by making it something more around there. Still has a good amount of contrast, but it creates more separation and reinforces that idea of visual hierarchy between these two elements. And then this call to action button, the sign up, which is the only part of the call to action. And the reason I'm working on this stuff that's not part of the call to action is because what happens to your call to action is kind of dependent on, you know, your headline and your sub headline as well. So there's a relationship between these two things. The sign up button, again, if we stuck it here now, makes more sense. But it still doesn't stick out enough because we have a gray background and we have a gradient that starts at gray and goes to light. So it's largely a gray button on a gray background and it doesn't really stand out. Size also needs to be increased a bit because it's more of an afterthought down here. But but the most important part here is to change the contrast. And if you change the contrast with how it should be, then we'll fix a lot of stuff. So for instance, we take this thing, we'll do background. And I'll just say blue for now. It's going to make it look like garbage. That's okay though. We'll use this color to keep things consistent. I would change this maybe to like a gray color because that's not a button. And then we'll go to color white. All right. I think they're using a text shadow. We'll get rid of that. All right. And then we'll make font weight bold and then font size no, that's way too big. Something more like that, and get rid of the border color down here. Don't need that. All right. Maybe get rid of the font weight bold because we made this size already pretty large. I would make more adjustments to the size of this icon because it's kind of off. But now at least it makes a hell of a lot more sense. It gives the user something to do, and that's what you want them to do. Something to interact with that will take them somewhere or do something or further their experience on the site. So look at this, and let's refresh to see what the old version looked like. See how much of a difference small changes can make? I'm going to do one more of these so that we can really solidify this information. All right, so convert anything to anything. All right, it's kind of strange that they used like just a very off gray when this is already white. I would make this kind of stand out a little bit more. But the actual call to action, and by the way, they had this underlined too. It almost makes you think, oh, okay, it is a button that you select. You would think if you hovered over it, you would have this thing that drops down, this right here, just by hover, because it's not obvious because they don't change the cursor to anything. It should be a pointer, right? Apparently, you can just click the thing that you want to change it to. This seems pretty cool, by the way, this service. And there you go. And I'm not really exactly sure what happened after I did that. But select files. This is I thought this was the immediate call to action. I don't understand this. Something changed when I did change this. So for instance, if we take anything to that, we'll do audio, we'll say MP3. Okay, so it changes this information down here apparently. All right. So yeah, they really need to make this stand out more. So let me just do a couple things here in the inspector so we can improve this call to action right here. Anything this should be, let's make it white. And then let's make the background, we'll make it blue. And we don't want that type of blue because the dark gray, you can see it clashes with this blue. It doesn't contrast enough. So we're going to make something that's lighter. All right. We'll do a border radius. We'll just do maybe more subtle, like 5 pixels. Font size. And then we'll do padding of 10 pixels. And what you would really want to do is, boy, let's take this font size down even more. I would want to maybe margin top. I'm not sure if this is going to work by 15 pixels. No, that's not working. This isn't going to work. Yeah, that's not going to work. I would want to move this up though, so that it's more centered vertically. And then also put an icon to the left of anything with a drop down, and also cursor pointer here. So now you click on it, you hover over it, you know it's going to come down. And then also have a little drop down arrow would make so much more sense. And then do the same aesthetic to this MP3 section over here, and it would stick out and function much more better. And if you ran it through an A/B split test, you would definitely find that it would be more effective in getting people to interact with the app here, which is the whole point of a call to action. And then the select to files, I would really rethink about how to adjust this, because it's a little bit confusing. You're not sure if you're supposed to go up here first or here. Maybe make this only show up if you're, you know, if you've done this stuff over here or something. But yeah, so let's refresh this and then see what it looked like before. Again, we had our call to action. The actual button looked more like a button as opposed to this, which is just kind of confusing. Yeah. All right, guys, so hopefully you found that helpful, and you'll be on your way to creating awesome, very usable and relevant call to action buttons and forms. So again, remember to answer today's question. If you're a freelancer, how many clients do you work with on average in a given month? All right, see you guys later.